Chapter 8, January 15th, 2201, Denver. Ryder woke Cooper early and fixed a simple breakfast of eggs and ham. As he was eating, Ryder reminded him to go easy on his dad when he talked to him. "I think it is time you went home and talked to your dad. I will be here to talk to you more when you are ready. Please do not share anything I have told you with anyone. They probably wouldn't believe you anyway. I have something else for you," Ryder said as he got up and went to the cupboard. He returned with a set of 2 china plates. "These should fetch you a good return on an open market. I checked the cameras and it looks like the raiders have moved on from this area for a while. But remember to keep your wits about you. They can come back at any time, and there is very, very little I can do to stop them if they come in big groups." Cooper thanked him, got dressed in the warm clothes, went downstairs and out the door. As he returned the way he came, his mind was reeling. There was so much to think about now. First things first, he needed to talk to his dad. It was time for some answers. Cooper's dad worked the graveyard shift the previous night, so Cooper had to wait until he woke up to confront him. He traded the china plates for a lot of credits and was now enjoying a huge plate of potatoes and bacon for lunch at the counter. His dad awoke to the smell and came in as well. "Cooper, I could get used to this," his dad exclaimed, diving into a plate of food. He let his dad eat for a while before starting in on the questions. "Dad, I met someone a few days ago while topside," Cooper started. His dad looked up from a piece of bacon still dangling from his mouth. "What?" he exclaimed. "I met someone," he started again. "A Major Ryder from the UGMSC. He told me that he knew who you were and that you would explain more about Mom and your past." Cooper's inquisition was met with his dad's eyes, tired, sad, but bright. His dad finished the bite he was eating and he went into the bedroom. From a hidden place under his bed, he pulled out a small wooden box. "Come over here, Cooper. I have something to show you." His dad beckoned to the small table in the kitchen. They sat down facing each other, and his dad slowly opened the box as the hinges creaked from lack of use. "Son, I was not sure how to tell you all this. I wanted to wait until you were ready. I didn't know what type of person you would be, and I didn't want to sway your decisions. You see, your mother and I were in the UGMSC, the United Government Military Space Commission. I was a captain, and she was an astromechanical engineer." He waited for a reaction from his son, but all he got back was a look of disbelief and shock. With no response came, he continued. "Your mother was one of the best engineers in the fleet. She could fix just about anything, especially while dressed in the spacesuit and dangling from the edge of a spaceship. I was a project manager, and we worked on the same team to get a military spacecraft to Spare. Of course, at that time, it was only known as Proxima Centauri b. The spaceship we were preparing was going to be one of the first manned ones. Your mother continued to work while she was pregnant with you, and she only took a few weeks off after you were born. There was just too much to do and get ready before the mission launch. We were going to be on the first team headed to the New World. I was against taking you, but she was dead set on being there first. You would be the first child to be raised on the New World, she would say." Then suddenly his dad looked even older, more distant. "We were in the final preparation stages, and the launch would be in just a few days. As the project manager, I was making sure that everything stayed on track. The mission would be more than a 10-year flight with no return guarantee. We had to make sure everything was in perfect shape, as there wouldn't be any support out there. Then the alert started. It seemed there was some sort of leak in the main life support systems. After reviewing it as a team, we decided it would require a trip outside. I voted against having your mother go, but she insisted, knowing she was the best person for the job. She gave you one last kiss, and then she headed to the airlock." His dad paused again, taking a deep breath. Everything seemed normal as she headed out for the repair. There was a rush to this as we were losing the oxygen we would need to start the trip, and if it went too long, we would be in fear of having to abandon the ship. However, no one knew that things would go so bad. As she got to the tank outside, she noticed that a projectile had struck the tank, causing the leak. This was strange because most of the space debris was tracked to avoid problems while in high Earth orbit. She used her kit to make the repair. I wish you had seen her, Cooper. She was better than any engineer I've worked with ever. She fixed the tanks so quickly and so well, it was like it never happened. Immediately, the tanks began to fill again, and the launch date was back on schedule. From inside, the crew cheered. I held you close and told you to look out and see your mother. Then there was a long pause, and Cooper wasn't sure if his dad could continue. Cooper reached over to hold his hand. His dad took it, and when Cooper looked into his father's eyes, he could see tears starting to form. You were right there when it happened. How could I let you stay on that ship, knowing what had occurred and what you had just seen? As your mother made her way back to the airlock, more untracked space debris began hitting the ship. This happened sometimes, but it was very rare. The problem was your mother was in the direct path of the debris, and when the debris is moving that fast, spaceships do not have that kind of protection needed. Another deep breath from his father, and Cooper felt his dad clutch his hand once more. It happened so fast, there was nothing that could be done. Your mother was struck by multiple space debris, 3 of them penetrating her suit, one of which went right through her chest. The rescue team went out to save her, but it was over. She was gone in an instant. Mitch paused again, his whole body shaking with the memory. Then he summoned the courage to continue. I couldn't take you on that spaceship, and I couldn't bring myself to have you go on that cursed trip, so I requested an early release. The general almost didn't accept my resignation. He had just lost his best engineer for the mission. How could he lose the project manager as well? But in the end, he agreed. I trained my second in charge to take over, and within a month, you and I were living where we are now. I took a job at the fire pit because I needed something mindless to forget my loss. His voice trailed off as he reached into a box and pulled out the Medal of Honor and handed it to his son. Cooper took it from his shaking dad's hand and examined it. On this day, January 5th, 2186, Sarah Richardson was posthumously awarded the UGMSG Medal of Honor for single-handedly saving the crew of the USS Voyager and ensuring its mission success. Her name will be honored for years to come. Cooper didn't know what to say or do. His whole life seemed to turn on its side. He knew his mom had died when he was just a small child, but now it turns out she was a hero and died in space. He had heard of the USS Voyager. It was actually there at Sperrier now. It was the only manned ship and was sending information about the planet and the alien life. Cooper, his dad started, I know this is a lot to take in right now. I know you are probably wondering why I haven't told you this all your life. I guess the reason is that I didn't want to see you grow up in space without your mother there with us. I was heartbroken to have you see her die, right there in front of you, knowing there was nothing I could do to save her. And I didn't know if I could do my job properly on the long mission with the sorrow and loss I felt at the time. Your mother was everything to me. She was my wife, but she was more than that. She was my best friend, and to have her ripped from us like that in a single moment while we were watching, I couldn't continue on that mission. We moved here because I wanted to be away from the controversy, to start over and give you a fresh chance away from space. I wanted you to choose your future, your role in life. I didn't want it dictated by the military, as it would have been if you were raised on the spaceship. Over the years, I tried my best to give you the time and freedom to make your own choices. I didn't encourage it, but I wasn't surprised that you wanted to go topside, while most of your friends avoided it. You have your mom's spirit of adventure. I knew that it was dangerous to go topside, but I knew if I stopped you, I would risk not allowing you to be who you are and who you would become. And Cooper, I'm so proud of you. You have achieved more than most of your peers will ever do in their whole lifetime. I watched how you accelerated past them in all subject areas, and the classroom stifled you, which was why I allowed you to stay home and test here. And when I found that exit route in the plans for the facility, I made sure to point it out to you to see if you would take on the challenge. When his dad had said, sparked a memory in Cooper, and he stopped listening for a moment, thinking back to the day his dad mentioned the route through the tunnel and up to the surface. They were walking to another community meeting, and his dad took a wrong turn. At the time, he didn't think too much about it, as many of the passageways did look the same, and his dad was always lost in thought. But then his dad said that the tunnel looked interesting, and he wondered what was down it. Another time, he told Cooper all about the cities and what they looked like before everyone moved underground, about the trees turning beautiful colors in the fall and the feel of the actual dirt beneath his feet. All of these, Cooper now realized, were hints and suggestions for him to go explore topside. Suddenly, he felt a new love and respect for his father. He realized that without his father's hints, he never would have pursued freelancing. And freelancing is what saved his life and gave him a way out of the dreary passageways. But Cooper also felt angry with his dad for not telling him the truth all this time. Their relationship could have been so different, closer, and more supportive of each other. Dad, Cooper interrupted. Dad, thank you. Thank you for telling me this, for trusting me to decide to seek adventure. You are right. I thrive on the exhilaration of being outside, the risk, the fear, but ultimately the challenge of the abandoned world above us. But things could have been so different between us. You kept my history from me. Uh, all this time, I thought Mom died when I was a child here in New Denver, but the truth is she was a hero in space. Son, again, I am sorry and hope that someday you will forgive me for not trusting you sooner with this knowledge. You are so much like your mother in so many ways. I know I haven't been there for you like I should have. I hope you will forgive me. Mitch had tears in his own eyes and inverted Cooper's gaze to look down at the table. Unsure of how to sort out his feelings, Cooper took a deep breath and changed the subject. So, Dad, where do we go from here? I know Ryder. In fact, I know him well. I think it is time that I see him in person. Let's go. I will take the day off, his dad said, sitting up straight. They finished their breakfast, even though it was cold. While his dad didn't have a coat of his own, Cooper had his old coat. Cooper tried to give him his better coat, but Mitch refused and took the old one instead. They put on the layers, hats, gloves, and headed out the door. As they started to walk the passageways, Cooper continued to think about all that he had learned in the past 24 hours. It would take some time to forgive his father, but the information he gained was truly incredible. It made him think that maybe he could go with Ryder to the stars. Chapter 9, January 15th, 2201, Denver, topside. Cooper's dad struggled a little getting up the stairs to the topside. Even though he worked hard at the fire pit, most of the work didn't involve climbing stairs or intense exercise. Mitch let Cooper take the lead as they headed through the parking lot and off to the library. The weather was cold, and there was snow blowing, making it a treacherous hike. The only advantage was that the weather would cover their path and the raiders would be less likely to be outside in the storm. They made it to the library after traveling for a long time. They were both tired and cold from the journey, but Cooper headed right up the escalators and towards the door. When they reached it, Ryder was already waiting for them. When he saw Cooper's dad, he reached out his hand, but instead they ended up in a hug. "It's good to see you, Mitch. It has been too many years," exclaimed Ryder. Ryder beckoned them to enter his apartment, where he had hot tea and sandwiches waiting for them. "I saw you leave New Denver, and I knew you must be headed my way. You chose a good day to come. With the bad weather, the raiders are hunkered in today," explained Ryder. "So, Ryder, it sounds like you have been monitoring my boy closely for a while." Mitch looked questioningly at Ryder. "Well, at first, I thought he was just another freelancer, but one time I got a good look at his face and realized it must be Sarah's son. She was willing to take on any challenge, so why not her son as well?" Ryder confirmed. "From then on, I followed him more closely to see how he would handle situations. When he was chased by a pack of wild dogs, I was ready to help him, but he figured it out on his own. And a few days ago, when the riders were on this side of town, I had no other choice but to intervene. Recently, they are getting more aggressive and covering a wider territory." "Wild dogs? Raiders?" Mitch interrupted, looking at his son. "You never mentioned any of this to me." "Dad, it's okay," Cooper assured him, and told a little bit of a lie. "Ryder told me the way to go, and I avoided him." "In fact," Ryder continued, "all riders aren't so bad. We've recruited some of them for the training as well." "Do you mean the trip to Sperrier?" Cooper asked, changing the subject. "Yes," Ryder confirmed. Which brings us back to the reason I've asked you to talk to your dad and come back to see me. You see, I am leaving here in a few days. I want you both to come with me to space." There was a silence for a minute, and both of them stared at Ryder. "Mitch," Ryder started, "you've been gone from the program too long. It is time to return to your roots and back to space. And for you, Cooper, I can get you into the cadet program and possibly on the USS Mayflower headed to Sperrier. This is not a joke, boys. This is the real thing. Cooper was at a loss for words. He had no idea this would happen. 3 days ago, he was just a freelancer enjoying his time topside, running small errands and scavenging for things. Now he was asked if he wanted to be a cadet and go into space. This had to be some kind of joke, some sort of weird dream. And with it came the fact that his mom and dad weren't anything like he imagined them. His mom, an astronaut, an engineer, and a hero, and his dad, a project manager for a major space expedition. He needed to slow things down. He never thought about living anywhere else. New Denver was his home. While he liked the trips topside to see the outside world, the sky, and the seasons, he never imagined doing anything else, being anything more than a freelancer. He didn't know much about the military. He knew the cadets were the lowest ranking of the unit, but that was about it. And Sperrier, he had seen the pictures on the terminal. It looked interesting, totally unexplored as yet. But him? There? He didn't know. Mitch was the first to speak. Ryder, you know me. You know the struggles I have gone through after Sarah's death. I don't know that I can ever step on a spaceship again. Ryder spoke with conviction. Mitch, we all know that it wasn't your fault. You weren't the one to blame for that accident. That is easy for you to say. You weren't there. I was the project manager. It was my ship to run. I should never have let her go out that airlock. She insisted, but I should have stopped her. Then she would still be here for Cooper. Mitch's voice trailed off. Mitch, Ryder said firmly, we all have our demons from the past. Sarah was an amazing woman, but she was also an extremely stubborn one. She was going out that airlock whether you let her or not. This is an opportunity for you to start anew. There are plenty of opportunities to manage smaller projects on this mission, and you, boy, if he passes cadet training, would be with you through it all. Chapter 10, January 15th, 2201, Denver, topside. They headed back to the parking garage in silence. The snow let up and the sun was peeking through the clouds as it neared the Rocky Mountains, preparing to set. Cooper was still reeling from all that he had heard. As soon as he stepped outside of the library, he made his decision. He was going. He had to go. As Ryder said, it was in his blood. While the adventure was fun here, this was a dying world. He needed to go somewhere else and feel the light of day on him all the time. He wasn't sure what his dad was going to do yet. He wanted him to come, but he didn't think he could decide for him. Ryder told them if they wanted to leave with him, they should return back to the library in the next few days. He knew that they would have things to take care of in New Denver, and Ryder was in the midst of final packing in preparation for his own leave. There would be a new soldier taking his place at the library to watch over the city, but his time on Earth was finished, and he was scheduled for a new assignment. They made it back downstairs without incident and returned to their apartment. It was late, but their rations were waiting for them. Algae salads tonight, yuck. He sure missed those sandwiches and tea they had at Ryder's place. As they sat, eating in silence, Cooper was waiting for his dad to speak. What decision would he make? Finally, Mitch cleared his throat and spoke. Son, Cooper, I am so sorry for all that has happened. I probably should have told you a lot sooner about your mother and me. I'm sure it came as a big shock. I think you should go with Ryder. He is a good man and will make sure that you are safe. This is a huge opportunity. But Dad, what about you? Cooper asked. As Mitch prepared to scoop up the last bite of the salad, he stopped and looked at him again. Son, I just don't know that I can do this again. I might not be able to make the right decision when the time comes. I don't know if I can give commands again like I once did. Losing your mom destroyed me for so long. But Dad, it sounded like there were opportunities for smaller projects. Maybe you could be assigned to one with less risk. But Cooper knew the truth. Like topside, there were always dangers. Son, I don't know. I just don't know. And with that response, his dad headed off to bed, mumbling something about making decisions tomorrow. Cooper was alone again. This was sort of the way he liked it, though. What would it be like to be around all those other cadets? Could he adapt to that kind of environment? So many things to think about as he headed off to bed. Chapter 11, January 16th, 2201, New Denver. When Cooper woke up in the morning, he was surprised to smell bacon and fresh eggs again. Wow, how was this possible? He got dressed quickly and went into the kitchen. His dad was there chewing on some of the mound of bacon that was sitting in front of them. Come, Cooper, and enjoy. Since we are both leaving today for good, I cashed out a bunch of extra credits so we could have this feast, Cooper's dad exclaimed. I guess he made his decision, Cooper thought as he dug into his own stack of bacon. You probably won't see bacon when you get in cadet training, his dad said between bites. They make sure to feed you well, but usually only healthy foods as they train you for leadership and discipline. As they packed up everything, they made sure to take everything with them. Ryder said if they came, he would take care of shutting down the apartment and making sure it was given to the next citizen who was waiting for one of the private apartments. While Cooper never thought it was a nice place, he knew others were living in much worse conditions, some of them in big dormitories where they had to share bathrooms and communal dining facilities. He guessed now that his dad's time in service had given him special treatment. They dressed warmly, threw their bags on their backs, and headed toward the door. As Cooper looked back, he knew this would probably be the last time he ever saw New Denver, or maybe Earth for that matter. They reached the parking garage without a problem. Mitch seemed to have new energy in his step, and they made their way out of the garage and headed toward the Capitol. Cooper was talking excitedly about all the things they might see in space. He wanted to know everything about what it was like up there. Mitch told him all he could remember. Working in space was incredible, Cooper, Mitchell was talking excitedly. To see the Earth from out there gives you a whole new perspective on everything. I still remember the day I met your mother. We were on the Armstrong moon base together. She finished her training, and I was getting ready to head into advanced training. I was already there as an assistant project manager for the base station operations. This made Cooper stop and turn to listen more carefully. Mitch continued, Sarah, your mom, was the most beautiful woman I had ever seen. She was just in her khaki cadet uniform, but her smile and the way her eyes lit up just made me stop for a minute. She saw me standing there and looked me over for a moment before laughing and moving on. You see, she had caught me staring at her with my mouth open. Very embarrassing, but in the end it worked out. She came back the next day with her orders to her next destination. It turns out there was a slight problem with her paperwork, so she stopped by to get some assistance. She remembered seeing me the day before and teased me a little, but the ice was broken, so we started contacting each other back and forth while she completed her advanced training at the L2 spaceport. What is the L2 spaceport? Cooper asked. Well, Mitch explained, this is one of the Lagrange points. It is one located out away from the Earth and the Moon, about 1,000,000 miles away, in fact. It is a point where you can park a ship because it's in equilibrium between all the gravitational forces of Earth, Moon, and the Sun. Your mom was being sent there for advanced training before she and I both got an assignment to the Voyager years later. It was hard during those times because there wasn't a way for us to easily meet up, so we spent a lot of time messaging each other. It was incredible when we finally both got to work together before the accident. Mitch had trouble finishing the sentence. Cooper enjoyed hearing the story about how his parents met. Every memory his dad shared filled in the missing pieces of his own life story. Thank you for sharing the story, Dad, Cooper said, looking up to his dad and smiling a little. Now, we better get going, huh? Mitch agreed, and they started moving again, heading back to the library. Then Mitch started talking again. You know, the worst thing about being in space is the feeling of weightlessness. Oh, it always gave me such a stomachache. I remember this one time your mother and I were... His words were cut off short as they heard the whoops and hollers of the raiders. Mitch and Cooper had just entered the middle of the street, and they both stopped at the sound. The raiders came around the corner, and it was too late. They were spotted. Run! Cooper yelled as he pushed Mitch in a direction between two of the buildings on the other side of the street. They turned the corner at the next street, and the raiders were gaining speed. We have to split up, Cooper, Mitchell yelled from behind. What? No, Dad, Cooper responded, looking back. Son, I know what's best. When they reached the end of the next block, Mitch grabbed Cooper and stopped him. Here, Cooper, take this pack and head to the library as fast as you can. I will go the other way and lead them off your path. Then I will meet up with you at the library. But, Dad, you don't understand. The raiders are dangerous. Cooper, I love you, and I promised to always protect you. This is the best way. Now we have no time. Go! Listen to what I said, yelled Mitch, firmly pushing Cooper in the direction of the library and behind a building. As he lunged forward, Cooper caught a glimpse of the first raider turning the corner. He hesitated a moment and started sprinting. If Cooper could get to Ryder, he would know what to do. Mitch turned the other way and took off at a sprint. His goal was to lead the Raiders the opposite way. He yelled back at them, taunting them to catch him. His ploy worked, and all of the Raiders were chasing after him. Mitch knew his son would be safe.